Welcome to our channel. Today we will bring to you the longest leaders ever ruled in history. These leaders helped in shaping nations and leaving lasting legacy. Edi Roma, Prime Minister of Albania, ruled for 11 years. Adolf Hitler, Chancellor of Germany, ruled for 12 years. Rajendra Prasad, former President of India, ruled for 12 years. Franklin D. Roosevelt, 32nd U.S. President, ruled for 12 years. Jacques Chirac, former President of France, ruled for 12 years. Kim Jong-un, Supreme Leader of North Korea, ruled 12 years. Ali Bongo, former President of Gabon, ruled 13 years. Ignacy Moshiki, former President of Poland, ruled 13 years. François Mitterrand, former President of France, ruled 13 years. David Odson, former President of Iceland, ruled 13 years. Richard Seddon, former President of New Zealand, ruled 13 years. Mark Rutte, former President of Netherlands, ruled 13 years. Gamal Abdel Nasser, former President of Egypt, ruled 14 years. Mengistu Haile Mariam, former President of Ethiopia, ruled 14 years. Robert Banks Jackinson, former Prime Minister of the UK, ruled 14 years. P.J. Patterson, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, ruled 14 years. Plek Phibunsongkhram, former Prime Minister of Thailand, ruled 14 years. Robert Gascoigne Cecil, 3rd Marquess, former Prime Minister of the UK, ruled 14 years. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, ruled 14 years. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, former President of Turkey, ruled 15 years. Benjamin Netanyahu, former Prime Minister of Israel, ruled 15 years. Margaret Thatcher, former Prime Minister of the UK, ruled 15 years. Sheikh Hasina, former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, ruled 15 years. Park Chung-hee, former President of South Korea, ruled 16 years. Jawaharlal Nehru, former Prime Minister of India, ruled 16 years. Indira Gandhi, former Prime Minister of India, ruled 16 years. Kim Jong-il, former Supreme Leader of North Korea, ruled 17 years. Augusto Pinochet Ugarte, former President of Chile, ruled 17 years. Sirimavo Bandaranaike, former Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, ruled 17 years. Getulio Vargas, former President of Brazil, ruled 18 years. Guet Masiri, former President of Botswana, ruled 18 years. Todor Zhivkov, former Prime Minister of Bulgaria, ruled 18 years. Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, former Prime Minister of UAE, ruled 18 years. Robert Menzies, former Prime Minister of Australia, ruled 18 years. William Putt, the younger former Prime Minister of the UK, ruled 18 years. Mahmoud Abbas, former President of Palestine, ruled 19 years. Faure Gnassingbé, President of Togo, ruled 19 years. Ne Win, former Prime Minister of Myanmar, ruled 19 years. Ilham Aliyev, President of Azerbaijan, ruled 20 years. Abdelaziz Bouteflika, former President of Algeria, ruled 20 years. Lee Hsien Loong, Senior Minister of Singapore, ruled 20 years. Roosevelt Scarrett, Prime Minister of Dominica, ruled 20 years. Benito Mussolini, former Prime Minister of Italy, ruled 20 years. Robert Walpole, former Prime Minister of the UK, ruled 20 years. William Lyon Mackenzie King, former Prime Minister of Canada, ruled 21 years. Sukarno, former President of Indonesia, ruled 22 years. Mohammed Siad Barre, former President of Somalia, ruled 22 years. Bharat Gurad Hamadou, former Prime Minister of Djibouti, ruled 22 years. Zine El Abidine Ben Ali, former President of Tunisia, ruled 22 years. Vladimir Putin, President of Russia, ruled 22 years. Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, ruled 24 years. Bashar al-Assad, President of Syria, ruled 24 years. Lansana Conté, former President of Guinea, ruled 24 years. Ho Chi Minh, former President of Vietnam, ruled 24 years. Daniel Arap Moi, former President of Kenya, ruled 24 years. Saddam Hussein, former President of Iraq, ruled 24 years. Nicolae Ceausescu, former President of Romania, ruled 24 years. Mahathir Mohamad, former Prime Minister of Malaysia, ruled 24 years. Ismail Omar Guelleh, President Djibouti, ruled 25 years. Oscar Carmona, former President of Portugal, ruled 25 years. Urho Kekkonen, former President of Finland, ruled 25 years. Lam Karimov, former president of Uzbekistan, ruled 25 years. Omar al-Bashir, former president of Sudan, ruled 26 years. Ahmed Sékou Touré, former president of Guinea, ruled 26 years. Denis Sassou Nguesso, president of R. Congo, ruled 26 years. Juan Vicente Gomez, former president of Venezuela, ruled 27 years. Kenneth Kaunda, former president of Zambia, ruled 27 years. Colville Norbert Young, former governor-general of Belize, ruled 27 years. Hastings Banga, former president of Malawi, ruled 28 years. Nursultan Nazarbayev, former president of Kazakhstan, ruled 28 years. Emomali Rahmon, former president of Tajikistan, ruled 29 years. Alexander Lukashenko, president of Belarus, ruled 30 years. Hafiz al-Assad, former president of Syria, ruled 30 years. Hosni Mubarak, former president Egypt, ruled 30 years. Moumoun Abdul Gayoom, former president of Maldives, ruled 30 years. Habib Bourguiba, former president of Tunisia, ruled 30 years. Idris Deby Itno, former president of Chad, ruled 30 years. Isaias Afwerki, former president of Eritrea, ruled 31 years. Porfirio Diaz, former president of Mexico, ruled 31 years. Rafael Trujillo, former president of Dominican Republic, ruled 31 years. Suharto, former president of Indonesia, ruled 32 years. Mobutu Sese Seko, former president of DR Congo, ruled 32 years. Ali Abdullah Saleh, former president of Yemen, ruled 33 years. Harald Firm, king of Norway, ruled 33 years. Hans Adam II, prince of Liechtenstein, ruled 34 years. Alfredo Stroessner, former president of Paraguay, ruled 35 years. Ali Khamenei, supreme leader of Iran, ruled 35 years. Robert Mugabe, former president of Zimbabwe, ruled 37 years. Yoweri Museveni, president of Uganda, ruled 38 years. Jose Eduardo dos Santos, former president of Angola, ruled 38 years. Gnassingbé Eyadema, former president of Togo, 38 years. Mswati III Mwenyama of Eswatini, ruled 38 years. Paul Biya, president of Cameroon, ruled 41 years. William III, former king of Netherlands, ruled 41 years. Omar Bongo, former president of the Transition of Gabonese Republic, ruled 42 years. Muammar Gaddafi, chairman of the Revolutionary Command Council of Libya, ruled 42 years. Gustav V, king of Sweden, ruled 42 years. Haile Selassie, former emperor of Ethiopia, ruled 44 years. Theodore Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, president of Equatorial Guinea, ruled 45 years. Emperor Meiji, former emperor of Japan, ruled 45 years. Kim Il-sung, former president of North Korea, ruled 46 years. Hussein of Jordan, former king of Jordan, ruled 46 years. Fidel Castro, former president of Cuba, ruled 49 years. Qaboos bin Said Al Said, former sultan of Oman, ruled 49 years. Khalifa bin Salman Al Khalifa, former prime minister of Bahrain, ruled 50 years. Carl XV. Gustav, former king of Sweden, ruled 51 years. Margaret II, former queen of Denmark, ruled 52 years. Hassan al-Bolkiah, sultan of Brunei, ruled 57 years. Louis XV, former king of France, ruled 58 years. Christian IV, former king of Denmark and Norway, ruled 59 years. George III, former king of the United Kingdom, ruled 59 years. Hirohito, former emperor of Japan, ruled 62 years. Queen Victoria, former queen of the United Kingdom, ruled 63 years. Franz Joseph of Austria, former emperor of Austria, ruled 67 years. Elizabeth II, former queen of the United Kingdom, ruled 70 years. Bhumibol Adulyadej, former king of Thailand, ruled 70 years. Johann II, former prince of Liechtenstein, ruled 70 years. Louis XIV, former king of France, ruled 72 years. Sobhuza II, former Ngwenyama of Eswatini, ruled 82 years. Kindly subscribe for more educative information.